which is better? Sir, BBA better hai ya BCom better hai? I keep on saying you can't compare an apple with an orange. I want to do BCom honors because BCom honors is much better than BBA. That is not the thing. Is it future ready? When you pass out from any college after 5 years, is it leading you towards entry level job?
Should I get into a private university in India or should I look at exploring international?
I feel the landscape of higher education has changed in India in a big way. If you have an aspiration to go abroad, then you must always aim at a top ranked Ivy League college.
You interview students. Typically, what are the criterion you look at? What are the parameters you look at on the basis of which would you select or reject a candidate?
If you really want to invest, life, you want to get associated with Jindal Global University, the more you dive down, the probability of taking a pearl gets higher. First, explore yourself, then explore the institution, and then explore the program which is the best fit for you, keeping your career objectives into mind.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this podcast, Demystifying College Admissions in India. Today, as part of this series, we have the pleasure of having with us Mr. Vikram Singh Tomar, who heads admissions for OP Jindal Global University for the Business School as well as the Banking and Finance School. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir, and it would be such an honor for the students to listen to you about their queries, the questions, the doubts and myths and misconceptions they have in their mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alok sir, first of all, for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because I feel it is very important for all of us to share the information, because these students are our future. And I'm grateful, and I believe whatever conversation we have today and whatever reflections I am able to give, it will surely going to add some value to their decision making.
I can fully understand that and respect that, because I have been knowing Mr. Tomar for maybe over a decade.
Yes,
right? And
almost a decade.
it is always such a pleasure to meet up with him, and I don't feel there is any formality which is required. But having said that, we at alokbansal.com have been mentoring students all these years, and we have handled more than 30,000 students. We have mentored them, guided them to ensure that they achieve their career objectives. Sir, I have a lot of questions for you. In fact, before I came in, I did look at our database and figured out what kind of questions people today have. So, OP Jindal Global University is definitely a very premium university in the country today, not only in Delhi NCR. A large number of students prefer going to the university. It's also a university which is institute of eminence in the country. So, sir, when people are applying for a business program, a typical question a high schooler has is, would I require maths because I want to pursue business, or banking and finance, or without maths can I apply? So, sir, I just want to understand what is the selection process and the eligibility.
Alok sir, I must admit that this is a very important question, because when I passed out class 12th way back in 1997, and if I have to say, this word maths has always been, haunting the life of students. And I always keep on candidly saying that, India is full of free advisors. Whether you want an advice, you don't want an advice, people are free to give advice. Coming back to your question, definitely with time, the need of the corporate world has changed, and therefore the curriculum also needs to be altered to make job ready professionals. Yes, of course, if you are looking for programs like business analytics, you are looking for something into the area of data science, financial markets, then having maths in class 12th is surely going to add value, because you are not reading something which is very generic in nature. It requires a deep level of programming languages like Python, R, Tableau. Without maths, you will suffer, and you will later on not be job ready.
Correct.
Therefore, pick your specialization carefully. If you are looking forward to do a program in BBA honors, let's say marketing or HR, then maths is not mandatory. But yes, it is not maths, it is basically statistics. But generally, we hear it as maths. And I feel at school level, if we are not having a friendly teacher of maths, it always leaves an impression of phobia in our mind.
Correct.
And we run away from maths.
Correct. Interesting, very interesting. Sir, before we really move forward, I also wanted to understand, for the benefit of the viewers here some background about yourself. You have been part of this education industry for a very long time.
Yes.
So why don't you throw some light or maybe give them something about yourself?
So I basically belong to Dehradun, born and brought up over there. I have completed my class 12th way back in 97 and I am a commerce graduate. So typically like every, Indian student who grew up in the late 90s and when everything in class 11th in terms of subject selection is decided on your 10th board marks. I was never a chemistry person. So
Okay.
I used to like physics, I used to like maths, but chemistry was my weak area. How I managed to clear 8th and ninth with those valency and formula, only I know or my chemistry teacher knows about it. But yes, if you want to go ahead with science, you have to take PCM. I never wanted to take that risk because at the end of the day, what I wanted to aspire was very different because I come from Dehradun. So I always grew up looking at that, olive green uniform of the Indian Military Academy, and I wanted to aspire for CDS
Okay.
or maybe NDA. So I took maths, but maths in those times was very different. We were being taught as commerce student the maths which was being taught to the engineering student.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was a very different time, and I completed 12th, but I took a very brave decision. And that brave decision was nobody would even imagine that somebody, or I should say, not a brave or a foolish decision to think of dropping maths in class 12th in the month of January
Oh, that's
because we have the board exams in the month of March. So I went to my teacher and I simply said, "Ma'am, there is a problem." And she said, "Which topic?" There was no topic. And I said, "What is the relevance of maths in
in
my
my life.
life? Why am I studying trigonometry and calculus? Because that is not required at all in the area which I am venturing, which is probably management education."
Okay.
I completed graduation from Dehradun. I completed my master's in 2003. And in 2003, when I was just 23, 24 years old, I decided to make my journey in education,
Interesting.
but not as a teacher,
Very
because
interesting.
education means teachers. I
Yes.
was on the other side, and many of my professors that time used to say, "Vikram, what are you going to do in this gray hair industry? You should think of the corporate world." And I was always fascinated because, whatever I was seeing till now, sitting on the other side of the table, God has given me an opportunity to sensitize the new generation about subject selection,
Correct.
about course selection, and most important, college selection. And with the advent of social media and all coming in after 2005 onwards, I saw that it's not easy for a child
To
of
decide.
today to decide.
Correct.
So it has been a fascinating journey. I enjoy a lot. I interact with the youngest generation every year, and they always ensure that I stay young.
You are definitely young. Oh, so you definitely look much younger than all of us or people of your age. And that is very interesting to understand that, sir. So I understand that your energy comes from interacting with youngsters, mentoring them at all the
Yes.
times. You were telling me about new projects and new initiatives you are launching at your level at the university, which is very interesting. Sir, there is a big question people have today is that should I get into a private university in India or should I look at exploring international options? I mean, very difficult to answer, obviously, because people have their own interest. But what is your take on that, sir?
So this is a very interesting question because I have seen there is a radical shift in the mindset of many of the parents when it comes to overseas education. My take is very simple. Until and unless you are getting a good top 100 or 200 ranked university, you should not end up going abroad to any random college
Fair.
because it's a huge investment. The scenario which was 20 years ago in India was very different, but with the advent of some good names in India at the UG level, I feel the landscape of higher education has changed in India in a big way. And there is no harm even in studying in India, utilizing those opportunities, and then take masters. But yes, if you have an aspiration to go abroad,